The other sport that the group supports extensively, again, Anand's personal support on this, and he's been a founding member and a supporter of that, is Formula E. And through the biggest medium that we think that it can be done, which is the digital platforms, but mainly through television and broadcast. But a chess game quintessentially transforms itself into its same format, whether you do it on a digital format or on a physical format. Everything will allow the fans to come together, play the game in metaverse, be thousands and thousands of people will probably be, or millions of people will be attracted to the event and the tournament. Chess is about thinking few moves ahead. You never think about the next move, but about 8, 10, 12, 20, and the grandmasters and the champions, I'm told, think 40, 50, 60 moves ahead.
Hello and welcome to a very special podcast series, Unusual Suspects. I'm your host, Gaurav Chaudhary. This is a series about unraveling stories of entrepreneurs, investors, and businesses that are disruptors and yet not in your face. Their disruptions have consistently delivered on the purpose and mission they've embarked on. Their values are as strong as the mission. While they're ruthless in pursuing their ambition, they don't stray from being leaders who are not just admired for the vision and relentless pursuit, but also for how they're building an ecosystem of believers who consistently push the boundaries. They allow principles to take precedence over ad hocism. For them, profitability is as important as scale, creating and leading new categories and innovations. In each episode, I speak to one such leader, talking to her or him or them about their businesses, lives, inspirations, interests, challenges, pivot moments and turning points, successes, failures, agonies and ecstasies. It is as much about their personal life stories as about their entrepreneurial journeys. Unusual Suspects streams on Earshot.in, Spotify.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Moneycontrol.com, and a host of other podcast streaming platforms. For this episode, I'm delighted to have Mr. Jagdish Mitra, the Chairperson of Global Chess League Board and also the Chief Strategy Officer and Head of Growth of Tech Mahindra. He's a sports enthusiast, loves football and plays squash. Global Chess League, or the GCL, is the world's first and the first franchise-based chess league organized as a joint venture between FIDE and Tech Mahindra. It is scheduled to take place in Dubai from the 21st of June 2023 to the 2nd of July 2023. In partnership with the Dubai Sports Council, the league's host partner. The league will feature 6 teams comprising players from around the world, including renowned names such as the new world champion GM Liren, GM Magnus Carlsen, India's 5-time world champion GM Viswanathan, Anand, and a top-ranked female player in the world, GM Hou Yifan. Notably, the GCL will also include prominent Indian players such as Gukesh D, Arjun Erigaisi, Vidit Gujrathi, Praggnanandhaa, Nihal Sarin, Raunak Sadhwani, Humpy Koneru, and Harika Dronavalli. Welcome to Unusual Suspects, Jagdish.
Hi, Gaurav. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity and look forward to talking to you. Thank you very much.
Jagdish, I'll start off with a very basic question. What was the thought behind the Global Chess League, Jagdish?
So, Gaurav, from our perspective, it's absolutely aligns with our business and strategy. And let me take you a step back and tell you where the group operates and how does Tech Mahindra think through this. So from a group perspective, if you look at the areas where Mr. Anand Mahindra, as our chairman, has focused on, then they are sports that actually have a great potential and haven't actually been given the opportunity to scale up. Also, they align quite a bit with our brands in the group. So if you look at his interest in creating Kabaddi and Pro Kabaddi League was primarily our association with the farming, agriculture, and the rural part of the Mahindra's business, which is really around all the aspects that touch these lives. And that's why that investment in it, and it's now grown to be the second most popularly viewed sport on television after IPL. The other sport that the group supports extensively, again, Anand's personal support on this, and he's been a founding member and a supporter of that, is Formula E. Formula E aligns very much with where we see the future of our automotive business, future of our mobility, and so on and so forth, and therefore that alignment. Now comes chess. And this all started incidentally with a tweet from Anand Mahindra about when India won or declared joint winners in Olympiad, the last one, not this one, but the one previous to this. And he talked about how the sport is important to youngsters, to children, and so on and so forth, and how it's important for digital detox to happen. And someone then, it obviously carried a lot of conversation, and people talked about saying, why doesn't the Mahindra Group get involved? He then asked us, my CEO, CP Gurnani, and CP then had a long chat with me about the strategy of it, and we got involved in thinking through it and felt immediately that it seems like a great idea to get involved. Our business in IT consulting and technology strategy and digital transformation is all about thinking about what the strategy of one's businesses will look like for our customers, for our people and our employees, and what other game than chess to define a few moves ahead to stay ahead of the competition, and what other game than chess to think about strategy, so Gaurav.
Jagdish, what is the primary objective of GCL? What is it trying to achieve, Jagdish?
So Gaurav, the primary objective is that I think we want to make this absolutely let me give you some stats to understand. 600 million people around the world play and follow chess. Our big opportunity is to be able to make this as engaging as possible for a chess of this scale or a game of this scale. So primary objective of GCL is to popularize and engage the fans. And through the biggest medium that we think that it can be done, which is the digital platforms, but mainly through television and broadcast. So we are trying to convert this into a television broadcast show, a sport that becomes a television audience's favorite. And that's the way we think engagement and following of the chess game as a very popular game will happen if we have millions and millions of fans watching it on television or OTT platforms, Gaurav.
The GCL introduces a couple of new facets into the sports system. For instance, bringing in franchisee and a new mixed team format. Jagdish, take me through this. How is it going to, while there's a lot of novelty and curiosity around the league's inaugural season, but there are probably a few gaps that will emerge only when the game, when the game rolls in, when the league rolls in. It's going to be it's going to be much more exciting than what we see, because chess, after all, is quintessentially seen as an individual sport. You are trying to make this into a team sport. What are the challenges that you foresee?
So Gaurav, there are going to be challenges. As you see, every success of a platform or anything new we do starts with the basic tenet of disrupting the norm. What we are trying to do to achieve the opportunity, first we have to agree whether there is an opportunity. I think we all agree that chess, from homes to ages, crosses boundaries like no other sport. You have age groups of 7 to 70. It doesn't have any such boundaries. It's easy to play. You need a chess board. It's the quintessential sport which has the similarity between what you play on your digital platforms and what you actually play. If you play football or cricket or any of the sport on the grounds, on the fields, and then you play it on your digital formats on a PlayStation or something like that, they require two very different skills. They're not the same. Your champion here will never be a champion there, most likely, and vice versa. But a chess game quintessentially transforms itself into its same format, whether you do it on a digital format or on a physical format. And we think that the challenges will be there in the point of disruption we are bringing. We are bringing a change in the point system so as to make sure that no longer is it a disadvantage, but more attractive, or rather challenging if you start with a black or a white. Similarly, the team formats will all become and make sure that it doesn't become individual. In the sense, you might be winning your game, but if your team members don't win, then you're not going to win the match. For that, it will make teams to collaborate, managers to talk to people, senior leaders coaching the younger ones, and so on and so forth. We wanted to bring in a whole lot of diversity, and that's what we want to see, because that's what our audiences are. The world is about diverse. So we have men, women, and the under 21s. So that constitutes the whole team come together. And we are also changing the commentary. We want to make it easier. We don't want to make sure that you have one move called Black Russian something something, and no one knows about it except the extremely focused and extremely, connoisseurs of chess that actually know about that move. But we want to make it easier for commentary to tell people. We want to make sure the platform allows audience to be able to predict what the next move is going to be. We are putting a lot of activity on to say, what the heart rate is saying of the manager, some players, etc. How do we make it sure that it's exciting? Does it mean that we've got it all right? Absolutely not. We'll only find out, like you said, after the inaugural chess. But we are here for the long run, Gaurav. We expect this to come together over as we learn from the process, and this franchises come and tell us, our advertisers, our sponsors, our broadcasters, they all come and tell us what changes they would like to see, and that's how the game will evolve, Gaurav.
It's interesting because the commentary bit that you just talked about is going to probably make it a television spectacle too, and to make it very interesting and attractive for people watching it on television. The commentary has to be absolutely riveting and also immersive. And my question is this: how are you leveraging technology in the GCL?
Good question, Gaurav. I think from our perspective, we have Tech Mahindra doing this versus anyone else doing this. We've got to have a difference in the way we approach it. And we leverage what our core strengths are. We tell the world we can transform their business digitally. So we are trying to do the same here. Your ability to engage the fan is built on our own core of an app called Fan Next from our sports tech vertical. Everything will allow the fans to come together, play the game in metaverse, be thousands and thousands of people will probably be, or millions of people will be attracted to the event and the tournament. They may not be obviously be in Dubai, but they will be all over the country and around the world. So we expect them to join through this app and be able to connect, play the game with our grandmaster, visualize the whole environment, all in this metaverse of the Global Chess League. Along with it, we are also doing a few things which we think have never been done before. We're going to put together a whole bunch of smart contracts which are blockchain enabled, and the technology of the operations of the whole Global Chess League, the player contracts, the franchise contracts, so on and so forth. Everything that you see in the whole operations and the fan engagement is AI and technically digitally enabled, because that's where our core strength is. And that will drive a better fan engagement and an experience, not just for the fans, but for also the operations team of GL, Gaurav.
Raunak Sadhwani has said that the Global Chess League can have the same kind of effect on the sports as IPL did on cricket. I mean, that is quite understandable. But when do you think it's going to get extremely popular, where people actually sit down at home to watch television or on their handheld devices and following it team by team?
Gaurav, that's $1 million or a few $1 million question. I don't think I have a date in mind. I'm hoping it's the 22nd of June when the launch happens, and there are millions of fans across the 150 countries. This game will go live, starting from India to the US, to North America, to Europe, to UK, to Australia, to China, all over the big markets, and in Africa and other parts. This will go live on 5:30 p.m. Dubai on 22nd. And I'm hoping that's when we will know that, the millions of fans have logged in, and we've been able to crack the code. But, your guess is as good as mine. It's like, I absolutely appreciate the comment made on IPL and, what it did to cricket. I'm thinking that I also believe it can have a similar impact or a bigger impact because of the whole volume that it has. But we'll only find out, every movie when it releases, you can only tell whether what happened in the movie release, however big effort you put in, as the audience comes in. So we will find out that as on 22nd to 22nd of July. And I'm hopeful that millions and millions of fans will vote for the format and get kept glued into the television sets and their commentary, and appreciate the effort that the team has taken.
Jagdish, why did Tech Mahindra decide to invest in a sport like chess? That is the first question, but the supplementary is after chess, what?
So Gaurav, I think I explained that the chess and our business gets aligned extremely well. We could choose to do what most other companies do, that is, lend your name and the logo to another event. Could be golf or could be football or tennis or anything else. And I think that's the standard and a very common way of associating your brand with a sport. However, to create a property takes a little more deeper involvement and belief and also a long-term investment into this. We believe that this has all the attributes, as I said, for our business to be aligned. Our business is about enabling our customers and we ourselves to think a few moves ahead. Chess is about thinking few moves ahead. You never think about the next move, but about 8, 10, 12, 20, and the grandmasters and the champions, I'm told, think 40, 50, 60 moves ahead. So this is about telling the world that we are about moving, thinking a few moves ahead. Second, it is a sport that has a long tradition in India, like we as a company do, and has gone global. We similarly have followed a similar path. We came out of India and we have a long tradition of having done business across the world in 90 countries, and therefore the alignment with that sport. We think, this has the ability to also talk about the most important factor that we are talking today, which is about knowledge workers and knowledge capital. Chess is all about knowledge working and knowledge capital that you demonstrate. And so these three things are constantly the one drivers for us in Tech Mahindra to do it. And finally, as you said, in the Mahindra Group, we've had a tradition of bringing up sports and such events, which are not necessarily the norm, but giving it the light of the day, giving it the shine that it requires and nurturing it so that it can really grow and scale.
Jagdish, final question. This is extremely good that corporations like Tech Mahindra are getting involved in the business of sports, because sports, among other things, one of the necessary things that it needs is organized institutional financial support. Do you think that, and Tech Mahindra coming into a sport like chess and giving it institutional support, the GCL, the launch of the GCL, etc., obviously is going to give a big leg up to a sport like chess. Do you think Indian sports as an industry has now reached a certain maturity where corporations are looking at sports, the business of sports, as a return on investment, something that is going to give very decent returns on investment?
Gaurav, I think, thank you, first of all. I think we see this as a great opportunity to not just build the association and alignment with our business, but also see this as a very positive opportunity to make this a successful business venture. And that's where we think the future is. Obviously, like most of these things, they don't turn around immediately like a switching on of a light, but it'll take time, but we are here for the longer run. To your second question, Gaurav, about do you think Indian businesses and the sports business and industry, we definitely feel it's a great opportunity to enable technology and sports. We have invested strongly in building a sports vertical and a platform called Fan Next, and we are trying to enable a lot of customers across in cricket, in football, in India, in Australia, in swimming, and everything else around, and in NFL in America, to other partners around the world. So we feel there is a huge opportunity for technology to completely transform what we think is the basis. Create communities through content. With those communities, create engagement and therefore commerce. So commerce will follow if you create the great content and community together. And that's what we are focused on. As far as Indian industry having reached or come to a stage, I think it is getting there. I think we can see that a lot of the interest we had from Indian business houses, private equities, and so far so around the world to be part of this chess league was amazing and tremendously encouraging. And that means, and most of them that we spoke to were very organized. They had their organization set up, they had a complete P&L running, they knew how to make this work, and so forth. So they are looking at not just a great high of owning a chess team, which probably used to be one of the ways people used to own chess teams earlier or any other sports teams earlier. Now it's a very complete business model, and people do it because they see this as a great return on investment and a great opportunity to take the brand forward. Both of them happen. So yes, I'm seeing that moving in the right direction, and I think it can only scale up from where it is now, Gaurav.
Thank you, Jagdish, for taking the time out and dropping by to have this conversation with us and agreeing to be part of our Unusual Suspects show. And thank you so much for sharing your deep insights and perspective.
Gaurav, thank you to you, and absolutely enjoyed talking to you and the conversation, Gaurav.